Let's talk about turning $1,000 into $250,000, $250,000 with ICP. Now, this is possible. You might be sitting there going, well, Kyron, how the hell are you going to 250x ICP? That doesn't sound correct. Well, you're mistaken. You got to think outside the box in crypto sometimes, and today I'm going to give you the answers to this question. You just have to promise me one thing. You keep an open mind and you stay attentive. So with that being said, do not forget, if you find yourself enjoying this video, or particularly you are an ICP fan like myself, it's one of my top all-time high conviction projects, then go down there and drop a like right now, and importantly subscribe so you can achieve all of your crypto goals this bull run. So first of all, I hope you don't mind, I'm not currently in the normal setup. I am traveling, but we will make do with what we have. The content is still going to be the same, it's just a bit of a different setup. So before we actually jump into any of the sell levels, and yes, I will give you each and every single sell level, how much of your portfolio to sell at each of those levels to achieve our goal in a safe way, but also look at some price predictions as well. And finally, at the very end, tell you how to make this. It's going to be a full actual how to turn $1,000 into $250,000 with ICP. You will get that out of this video, but you need to understand the fundamentals. You have to understand what makes ICP so damn unique and such a promising cryptocurrency. It's basically the Web3 of cloud infrastructure. It basically is the new age of, Web 2 cloud infrastructure is essentially another way to phrase it, okay? Right now, the throughput's about 4,700 TPS. Now, the TPS is measured a bit differently on ICP. The actual individual transactions might be less than this, but the way it's calculated, the complexity of the transaction itself totals to be about that, equal to what a standard transaction would pretty much be defined as. Obviously, we can see the blocks being created here, a lot of blocks very, very quickly, something that you would like to see in a project that basically is, again, trying to be a new age of distributed Web3 cloud infrastructure. So we can see here also canisters are increasing rapidly. This is a very important sign. As we'll see in just a second here, you want this to be going up and rapidly. That means people are developing. That means it's gaining a very important phrase called network effects. That means people are looking to develop on it. The more people that develop on the project, the more people want to come and develop on the project, okay? One person will benefit the next person, and the next person will be benefited exponentially in that case, okay? Not to mention as well, they recently launched their sovereign cloud infrastructure project called Utopia. This is an acronym. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the acronym. Either way, this is a very important structure. People aren't happy about this, but I think it's a really good thing. So Utopia establishes a virtual sovereign cloud powered by ICP technology, offering standalone networks with secure management frameworks. These clouds provide tamper-proof, unstoppable systems and services integrated with traditional IT infrastructure. By registering Utopias with the network nervous system, which is, of course, a part of the public infrastructure of ICP, using ICP tokens, interoperability with the public Internet Computer network is facilitated. So you're sitting there asking, Kyron, what on earth does that actually mean? Well, basically, they're offering infrastructure for private networks, governments, anyone that runs a business that wants to set up their own private cloud infrastructure that is completely tamper-proof, back-end proof. You can't alter it. You can't change it. You can't have backdoor possibilities. It is completely tamper-proof, secure, safe, all the rest of the buzzwords you can possibly imagine. This is important because these servers can cost quite a bit of money to actually create, and it's very appealing for a government or any sort of institution to want to leverage this. Now, the argument to be made here on the opposite side of this is basically the governments really need this. Governments spend millions, billions every year. Why can't they spend a couple million or a few $100,000 on their own servers? They probably already have their own servers and their own system. What makes ICP different? And I totally get that. However, as the network of ICP grows, as more of, as I was saying before, you have a company wanting to come on as, a Utopia user, hook up to the public network itself to use some more of the public utilities, and then you have another company therefore wanting to join. It begins to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you might actually have nation states, right, sovereign powers come into it and want to tap into it. We would obviously see smaller countries come on first. They don't even have to probably publicly announce they're using Utopia, but once they hook up to the public ICP network, that is when they'll need the ICP token, And that is when we can begin talking about the possibilities of burning ICP and all the rest of it. So like I said, people are a little bit concerned. As you can see over here, this guy said, responded to Dominic on Twitter and said, "Hey, Dominic," which is obviously the founder of ICP, "thanks for all the wizardry. We need to clarify on how Utopia will benefit the IC, Internet Computer, and ICP token supporters. There's a lot of confusion and fun around how Utopia circumvents the burning features." He pretty much just says exactly what I just told you there, right? The more people that come on, the more people that will want to come on, therefore hook into the public network. It's better you have more people and leverage some of the, I guess, possible public network hooks than you have none at all, right? Then better than not having Utopia at all. Plus, again, it just simply strengthens the network overall, in my opinion, anyway. So, again, I can kind of talk about this right here, the layer 1 flywheel. This is what ICP does a very good job of nailing. And if you are someone in crypto that hasn't heard of this before, please take the time to understand it. I talk about this quite a lot in the private community, of course, first link down below. And this is the prosperous flywheel that goes into creating a strong project in perpetuity. So basically, it all starts off as a good idea. It then moves into actually having a tangible value in the network, the investors, the token value. Because there is some value in the network, that's when people come and want to secure it, because then they begin getting rewards themselves. They get the token as token value. And then once these people have created some sort of framework, security, and actual, I guess, a blockchain in a way, right? Then you have third-party developers and you have people wanting to create something on the network because it is secured, it's backed, and all the rest of it, in which that creates end users. And as I was saying before, the third-party developers, the last sort of 2/3 of that flywheel before the community, well, you can also have Utopia now in there, building private network infrastructure and any sort of application that taps into the public network. Therefore, there might be more incentive to create public network applications and all the rest of it. I mean, we can be here all day talking about all the amazing possibilities that might come from this. I think you guys get the point. So this market is actually important to tackle, in my opinion. We have a lot of these centralized existing Web 2 cloud infrastructure projects. We've seen the likes of Flux, a much smaller competitor to the likes of ICP, but I think ICP hits the nail on the head in different ways as well. But again, it competes with these. Matter of fact, Dominic has also gone on to mention as well that you can host complete back-end, front-end, anything, even AI. Run complete AI large language models on ICP, which some of these you can't do, or at least it's very, very, very expensive. So we can see that most of the market share is with Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. The rest of these are much smaller, but in any sense, people do, and I think enterprises as well, want to have the ability to tap into something that they completely run themselves, that is extremely cheap, and again, it's tamper-proof. It's very secure. As you can see here, I mean, just some of the costs are unfeasible for smaller enterprises, and that's kind of the point I'm trying to make here. One last thing I will say is, again, touching on network effects, that you kind of do eventually hit a point where the network grows very slowly, and then you have enough applications, developers, and any sort of, I guess, in this case, sovereign cloud or Utopia hooked up to where it gets to critical mass, and then it begins to grow exponentially from there. This is the exact model that Facebook, Snapchat, all the other social applications pretty much had to face, right? Barely, obviously trending upwards, growth and adoption, but then all of a sudden it hits mainstream because enough people are using it to where it then can begin growing exponentially. And that's what we're trying to find. That's sort of the model we're looking at here, right? This cluster where there's sub-communities in a larger community, and all the rest of it. I think you guys get the idea. It all falls back to the flywheel. Not to mention, one last thing I will say here regarding the fundamentals is that, yes, there is a disinflationary token. Right now at 6.82%. This will move and steady off to 5%, so it'll taper off to 5% in perpetuity. But as more network adoption begins to pick up, as more canisters are created, as more sub-communities in the larger community are created, we're going to see more ICP burned over time. Again, this is exactly how Ethereum and other projects began life as well. Actually, Ethereum didn't even have a burning mechanism as far as I understand. So let's now get down to business. Let's get to the part you came to see, which is, of course, how we're going to make this money. I think I've done a pretty decent job touching on some of the network effects and basics, but how we're going to do this, right? So it doesn't matter why, but we're going to try to make 250K out of this, right? So this is my exit portfolio tracker. You can pick this up down below if you're in the level 1 community membership level or higher. We're going to offer this as a product alone, standalone product very soon for a little bit cheaper than the membership. But I think if you're getting that membership right now, you're going to quickly realize how valuable it is. So again, we're going to buy a dog NFT here for 200K after tax. That's going to be about 250K. That's our reasoning to turn 1K into 250. We want to buy a dog NFT like a complete Tangem. Okay, so in this case, the price prediction sheet, again, this sheet's available in the private community as well, says $141 for ICP for the bull run. Now, $141, in my opinion, is a little bit under where I think ICP can go to. I think ICP can go to about $180. That's my price prediction right there, as you can see. And again, I'm not an oracle. That is my non-financial opinion, of course. It could go a lot more, and it has the capability to do so, but we're going to be somewhat realistic. So I actually think if we look at an average sell price of $120, that sounds reasonable to me. That sounds reasonable. We want to have some buffer room here on the top side, so we don't want to be aiming for the very, very top. Again, the lower the better realistically. So if we buy in at the average of $7, it's a little bit higher than $7 right now, but it was $7 literally yesterday, and 143 tokens we purchase at $1,000, you can see here, will make about 17 grand. Now here's my sell levels, okay? This is what you want to be screenshotting. Again, this sheet is completely available for everyone down below. So, in my opinion, I think selling about 9 or 8 levels rather is fine in this case. We're going to sell 5 levels in green here beneath the target of $120. So we'll start selling at $90. Quite low, quite safe in my opinion. We'll take out 5% at that level, 5% at $100. We'll take out $105, 5% lastly, and then we'll begin selling at 10%. Okay, so 110 and 115, we'll sell 10% of our portfolio. $120, we'll sell 15%, and then we'll sell 50% of our portfolio above this line, but we're not moving up in $10 or $5 increments. We're only moving up in $2.50 increments. It is much better to sell above the sell level, like your main target, again, ours is $120 here, in smaller increments and less levels than it is under. Under, what you kind of want to do is act like the anchor of a ship. The anchor of a ship normally goes down very, very far, touches the seabed. You kind of want to be selling like that. Very spread out underneath the actual target sell level itself, what you want to actually exit at on average. Okay, and then as they get closer to that line, you begin making them more frequently, sell on that level, and then, just like the boat just barely sits on top of the surface, you can sell 1 or 2 or 3 levels above that. So again, the way that looks is like this. This is our anchor. These are the 5 sell levels we're selling beneath. We sell at the waterline, if you will, and then we sell, this is the boat on top. It's in reverse, of course, I know, but this is the boat. So we're selling, again, 2 levels here, but they're not $5 spread apart, or they're not $10 spread apart like down here, okay? So we can actually visualize this over here. So the yellow is how much of our portfolio we sell at each level. The green is the sell levels. And you can see as we stagger up, they get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, less frequent. Well, not less frequent, just less disparity between them, okay? Less difference between the individual sell levels. That's just safer, but you usually will have to pretty much sell about 50% always above the actual sell level. Just don't make those a lot. Now, after all this, okay, we still don't quite hit our target of $120. We're about $117, but I would argue that's okay because we're actually hitting 16 grand over here. I might zoom in a little bit for you guys so you can see. We're actually hitting 16 grand, $16,700. Our target is $17,100, but I would argue about $400 isn't, for the size of this portfolio, isn't a big deal. Like in this case, I wouldn't pretty much bother, making this 5%, if you will, and then making this like 30% to achieve our target. Well, we're not even there yet. We pretty much have to add more on. So I wouldn't risk $400 by selling more of your portfolio high. It just doesn't make sense on a risk and reward to do that. So either way, I'll reverse that, and I'm comfortable with that. Again, this is not financial advice. This is what I would do looking to exit ICP. But the question is, well, dude, we're pretty far off 250K. We're at $16,700. What are you smoking? Well, this is it, guys. Might not be what you want to hear, but this is the facts. People in this industry think two-dimensionally. They think in the box too much. No one has the patience, I'm telling you, to even look in the next week. I know, because people complain all the time that my videos go for longer than 15 minutes. They can't sit still for more than 15 minutes. Okay, No offense to you if you're one of those people. I understand it. It's what society's done. But this is what they're trying to do to you. Give you a short attention span. That way you don't think long-term or in the bigger picture. That is not what we do here. This is a practical financial channel relating to crypto. So always zoom out. Multi-cycle compound. A lot of you channel OGs would know this by now. So I'm not going to spend an overall amount of time on this. If you want to learn more, it's very simple. Join the damn private community. That's the best place to honestly be. At today's price, $7. If you, again, in the same situation, up here, right? You buy 143 tokens with $1,000 is what it is. Average buy price is $7. You get 143 tokens. Again, you sell at $105, so a little bit less than what we're selling even. So we're not even getting our full multiples out. Again, we're being conservative here. So like I said, we're selling over this at $120. That's what these levels will give us. But over here, we're selling even less. Okay, so we get 15 grand to keep it nice and simple for everyone. Okay, out of the 15 grand in the next bear market, if ICP's price falls down 90% to $14, okay, this is very normal, probably fall even lower, you can then buy with most of this money, 11 grand, okay, as much ICP as possible. The other 4 grand, you kind of want to keep that, use it for tax, pay the tax man. Yeah, you might want to buy some noodles, some ramen, do whatever you want to do with that money. So you'd buy, in that case, 786 ICP. Very simple, multi-cycle compounding. You can pretty much take that, multiplied by a conservative 2x in terms of the price on the top side. Again, we're getting out much, much safer at $210. That's 165 grand. That is still not 250 grand. What are you smoking? Well, again, this is where we want to maximize our returns. If this wasn't a how to turn $1,000 into 250K with ICP in a single cycle, because we all know that's complete BS. We want to maximize our returns, so we stake. If you stake ICP for a period of 3 years, you will get 10% APY on average. That is the current rate. It might even get more in the bear market, which would mean you would then have 1,061 tokens, not the 786 like that says over here. So you get more, and therefore we obviously do the simple maths. 223,000. We've gained an extra $58,000. Yes, I rounded up to 250 because guess what? Ultimately, I believe the APY will be even more in the bear market. That's what usually happens to incentivize more people to secure the network, because most people leave. But of course, also, it doesn't make a very good YouTube title saying 250K, saying 225K. So, hey, you can crucify me for that. But admittedly, guys, I think it'll be more. So therefore, I think you'll make more. I think you probably end up making about 75 grand from staking. So therefore, it'd be around about 250K, okay, ish. So that being said, that's how you do it. Now, I know it isn't really the video some of you, one and done guys like to hear, right? Buy now, sell there, and you're done. Happy days. I get it, right? If you want a 200X, a single situation, 250X, go buy some micro caps, go to the slot machine, put everything on black, whatever you need to do, all right? That's not what we do here. It's fun to do this exercise, and it's fun to look at these actual sell levels. Again, you might not want to reinvest back into ICP. That multi-cycle compounding plan can work for any altcoin that might be appealing in the next bear market. But again, I think ICP has that potential chance just because it hits AI deep in all of these buzzwords and again, Web3 cloud that actually allow it to be a long-term prosperous thing, as we just saw with the Utopia, network effects, and the flywheel. So that all being said, thank you for watching this far into the video. Let me know you've made it this far, by the way, either a comment down below or a like on the video. I want to know how many of you stay tuned to the very end. I'm interested. I wouldn't assume it's very many, but I'm keen. Okay, guys, take good care. Bye-bye.